It's over, it's not like we're dead. Was it something I did? Was it something you said? Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a VeVe OMI DEFF DECVDE update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello, catchy. Commenting, liking, subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon, and smashing that super thanks button down below. Super chats as well. We do have some DeCat news we definitely need to go over, and I just got a notification for something that I don't need. We have a lot to go over as well here. Get rid of that. Looking for the articles. Maybe I read the articles already, in which case that is fine. What's up, Echo 712? How's it going? We have a couple of days of things to go over here because yesterday I was in had a podcast at 8, and then tomorrow I have at 12. I have a really busy day tomorrow. And then tomorrow I have the L. Williams coming back for a 90s special Nickelodeon stuff, seeing what she would like to collect, what we would like to collect as NFTs. Because let's face it, when we got the Rugrats NFTs on Recur, that was not it, fam. We go from high-end digital collectibles on VeVe to like the crap we got on Recur, so we would like other stuff. A bunch of meetings, then we have Omi Homie on Tuesday. I'm trying to let you guys know what we have on this week. I might have an announcement. Well, I already told you about the cat, but we might have another announcement from myself on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Then on Thursday, I have Zen coming on with the just the show we've been doing every other Thursday. Friday, a couple more meetings. So VeVeverse, one of the criticisms I've seen from that is that there's not a lot of people in there. There's not a lot of people building. I have no capabilities to build inside the VeVeverse. But I'm creative. I have a lot of ideas, and might hire someone to do something in there. I'll keep you guys posted on how that might be possible. I do have a meeting on Friday with someone that has the potential to build something really cool in there. They'll use a bunch of my stuff. I guess I have to buy a little more things. But yeah, they'll be able to use all of my stuff, and we'll see what we can build. I might have Amanda Smith back on the podcast on the 17th. She's the one that had the Unicorn Mafia Sex Sells book. And then that's it for this week. But we do have a little bit more. Blue saying just got more Omi. Yump. Yeah, Omi was down today. Let's go over Omi first. Omi was actually, it's not that bad. It's only down 1.5% today. Still a $48 million market cap. 00017 though. It's really odd that 00017 is kind of like the norm now. How long does it stay down there? Can it go lower? I think it absolutely can. When I was talking with Will Keeper yesterday, he is Lori Brenner's husband, and I mentioned to him that we got, and I think one of the shorts is actually out now, just talking about buy orders and how a friend of mine's got buy orders down to 25K. He's got buy orders, I think, down to like 40K for Bitcoin. And it's like, again, there is half the market thinks that, no, Clarity Act coming down. You have big news coming from Jerome Powell. Actually, it's not even from Jerome Powell. It's from federal prosecutors have opened an inquiry into Fed Chair Jerome Powell, per the New York Times. Federal prosecutors in Washington, D.C. have opened a criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, according to officials briefed on the situation. Inquiry focuses on the central bank's renovation of its Washington headquarters and whether Powell lied to Congress about the project's scope. I think he did. Investigation, which includes analysis of Powell's public statements and spending records, was approved in November by Janine Perot, a Trump ally and head of U.S. Attorney's Office. Renovation project, which began in 2022 and is expected to be completed in 2027, is estimated to be about $700 million over budget. Powell's term as Fed chair ends in May, though his term as governor runs through 2028. Listen, I think that this is one of the ways that they can get Powell out early. It's like, hey, you don't want to be investigated into? Just step down. But then Jerome Powell says the DOJ is threatening the Fed with criminal charges for refusing to follow President Trump's interest rate demands. So obviously he's not going to be able to prove that. But then you have people in the comments be like, lower the freaking rates then, because again, Powell is seemingly holding this country hostage just because he doesn't like Trump. People that put politics before anything else, shame on them. And that goes for the left and the right. And now, could you say that if he were to lower rates at a commensurate rate to the rest of the world, would the DOJ have come in and looked into him? Probably not. But can you prove that in a court of law? Absolutely not. Yeah. So if you have the Clarity Act, which we were thinking gets passed this month, but now we might think it's February. Although now that Jerome Powell has now Bitcoin went from 90K to 91.5, so maybe we have a little bit of a rally here because of that. Either way, half the market thinks that stuff could rocket, and after the next few months, we Bitcoin back up to all-time highs, go up to 190, 290, whatever it is. Then the other half of the market thinks that February and March, Bitcoin and ETH will absolutely fall off a cliff, like absolutely just take a 50% haircut, 60% haircut. And if that happens, then your alts are not going to do so hot. That could be for stuff in the top 100, top 1,000, or stuff like OMI, which again, OMI still has a $49 million market cap. I think that's the correct. Let me take a look-see here. $48 million market cap. Listen, there's something like Definity, which was down like 20% at one point today, which has more top-line revenue than VeVe does, and they have a $2 million market cap. So I can't help but think that VeVe or OMI does have room to keep going down. Like, is it crazy undervalued now? In my opinion, yes. So I have no problem buying here if I got some extra money, which I should soon. But at the same time, it's like, there's a lot of other companies out there that are solving a lot of insane problems, and their market cap is a fraction of what OMI's is. So it stands to reason that that OMI could fall a decent amount more if what comes to fruition in February, March is that Bitcoin and ETH fall off a cliff and they take 50, 60% haircuts. And if that does happen, it's not because anything fundamentally has changed about any of the rest of these alt companies. It's just the fact that that's just where the market's going at that time. So, but again, we don't know what's going to happen until it does. It's like Schrodinger's market over here. What will happen will happen. What doesn't happens in another universe. Mr. MC1 says, hi all, what's going on? How's it going? Meow, meow, meow. So that's OMI. Let me see where the volume is today and take a look at where that volume's coming from. Let's go with Comey. 1.78. So it says 45% more in volume. I guess most of that was Deepcoin. Yeah, Deepcoin's got half the volume, 49%. It's weird that Bing X having 27% of the volume. I don't know where that. Anyway, Smart Buy says, what's up? What's up, Smart Buy? How's it going? O'Milly shows, what's up, fam? Good to see you. Good to see you. Smart says, no new activity from VeVe on Immutable Chain. I think they're finally working on shifting collect chain soon. Yeah, a lot of their stuff has moved over. I'm going to say most of their stuff has moved over. And I think supposedly that happens really quickly. Like the stuff got moved over super quick. Shout out to Collect Chain for being able to go in. And again, I think that's one of the shorts from yesterday as well. Randy Chavez channel going hard here. And I think that's one of the things I can't really soften. I'll soften out here. Actually, let me get my DeCat peeps here before what's up, Iron Man 616 reposting the stream. Let me get to my DeCat peeps and then I'll tell you all what's going on. Share via Telegram. Come on, DeCat. Whales, where are you? I can't find them. I don't know. Like, am I tripping here? If I just okay, there it is. I have some fun news for us. Like, they're really fun. and I'll wait for them to get here before I go into DeCat. So that's OMI. There's a buddy of mine that had to sell last week, so about 300 million. And it was hard to argue with him because he's like, listen, every time I had to sell, I bought back cheaper. I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. He's like, so it stands to reason if I sell now, I might be able to buy it back cheaper. It's like, you might, if that happens with the market, Bitcoin and ETH, then yeah, absolutely. But also the opposite could happen where stuff just starts pumping and, we have no idea. Hang on. Oh, God. Oh. Bless me. Smart Buy says, I think VeVe NFTs explode as soon as self-custody is released. That will be huge. Yeah, again, you had that guy looking to trade his Bored Ape Yacht Club for a first appearance Mickey. When he realized he couldn't put it in his MetaMask, self-custody, he opted not to. And now you have comics and crypto. Let me do I don't know what that was. Give me one sec here. Anyway, you have comics and crypto. See if I find them over here. Well, they have 25,000 followers. Good for them. They posted a poll 4 hours ago saying Bored Ape or AF15. The floor for Bored Ape Yacht Club is $19,000 right now. Would you rather own one Bored Ape Yacht Club at $19,000 or $19,000 worth of AF15 comics on VeVe Official? Drop your pick and why. So I, of course, picked AF15, but there's a good 23% of people, which as of right now, be advised, there's only 77 votes. There's not a lot of votes on here. But out of those 77 votes, 23% of people, so I figure about 16, 17 of them want a Bored Ape as opposed to an AF15. You have 77% of them that just say like, oh, actually, yeah, no, we'll take the AF15. So I said the first appearance of the most popular superhero ever, obviously, that's what I want. Mr. Squeebs, who I think has the record for the most amount of AF15 secret rares, says, cool art comes and goes. First appearances don't. Well, I think to push back on that a little bit, great art lasts forever. How many? I don't know what that is back there, but it's cool. Again, cool art lasts forever. If you like something and it's cool, heck it. But yeah, things go in cycles. But Spider-Man is just 60 something years old, made by a company that's 90 years old, and why would you go out and fade that company for these pixelated Bored Apes? Where again, I think they'll be around for a while. I think CryptoPunks will be around for a while. I think those have staying power. Up and comers would be Gary V's VeFriends. It would be Moonbirds. It would be, I mean, take your pick. There's a bunch of I don't know about Milady makers. Like, I think they're cool. Are they gonna? I don't know. It's a crapshoot with the rest of them. But anyway, that's my thoughts on that. You have Green Tox that said ape. Green Tox, not sure who they are, but they would prefer an ape. Yeah, the self-custody should be a big boon for us. I'm not 100% sure when we see that on the show. There's always the next thing that'll make VeVe blow up. I think it really just has to do. It has to do with the market, because again, you had Blackpink, you had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you had what was it, Street Fighter. You had all these incredible IPs that if we were in a pump and booming market, yeah, it would have catapulted us. But in the market we're in, you could probably announce Pokemon and it probably doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it. Nothing else has really worked. You really just have to wait for that narrative to run. You have to wait for Clarity Act to pass. You have to wait for interest rates to finally get lowered in a meaningful way. And once you do, you're going to get this market melt up after 20-something trillion dollars rips into the economy. And yeah, is all of it going to go to crypto? No. But is a lot of it going to pour in? Because again, this is like a year old by this point, but let me Let me show you something. I feel like that guy that's about to go out on bungee cords. Like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. What do we have here? And again, this is like a year old. Yeah, it's 20. This is like middle 2025. Massive TAM opportunity, which is total global asset value by asset. The real estate market is about $380 trillion. Bonds, 135 trillion. Equities, 110 trillion. Money, 21 trillion. At the time, gold was 18 trillion. I think that's spiked up now. And private markets, 13 trillion. Crypto, 3 trillion. Like, you see where I'm going with this? So I think once you get that to go up in a meaningful way, which I think you will this year, that's when stuff starts falling into ETH. As ETH goes up, so does the price of the higher end. I don't want to say art. I mean, anything is art, right? But the higher end NFTs that have some notoriety, then that money goes into digital collectibles. You want to have something that's a little bit safer and also undervalued. I think the partner statue is probably the most important NFT that's been made so far. Like, not on VeVe, like in the world. And maybe Pokemon gets something, in the future, and that will probably be as important, if not more. But we have Spider-Man, again, biggest superhero in the world. Batman, like the second biggest superhero in the world. Superman, like the third. So, like, you see where I'm going with this. Smart Buy says, "Oh, Millie, not everything, but key grails for sure." Yeah. Grails will definitely rise. Gary Vee also posted about self-custody, NFTs at big brands, DC, Marvel, Disney. Wasn't too excited about VeVe in early days because it locked the ecosystem. Well, he also wanted to charge like $1 million to VeVe, like, to talk about him. And Robert McCain, Erwin ME says up to 5 million OMI, looking for 10. Very nice, very nice. I dig your monkey over there, looking for digital collectibles, on the hunt. And O'Milly says, nice work, Rob. Yes, agreed. Nice work. What is 5 million, like $900 now? 10 million be about 1,800. I believe in you. Okay. I do want to talk about DeCat a little bit, because I've been a busy boy fighting the battle of fucking Thermopylae over here. No volume on the crypto, which is fine. That'll come. What I've been focusing on is DeCat Chronicles, which is just my IP. And why I've been focusing on that is because that's just what I can control. That's what I do. I build businesses. And this one, we did a first cap raise at 150K market cap. The second one we will likely do at a 300K market cap. Again, just letting go of 5%. So raise about 15K. That'll take care of printing the first comic, like 1,000 comics just in. And unfortunately, that's going to fall on me, where I would have to go in and take hold of 1,000 comics, and then whoever buys one, okay, post office. I'll be really, really busy with that. Financially, is that going to be worth it for the sales that brings in? No, it will not. I repeat, it will not be worth it for the sales that brings in. Okay, well, why are you doing it? Because it's top line revenue. And again, this is how I'm able to raise at a $300,000 market cap, or a $300,000 valuation. And then I think if I do another one later this year, it would be over $500,000, because at that point, right now we're pre-revenue, but at that point we'll have sold out on VeVe, we'll have sold out of the physical comic, and we will be going onto FigPin. There will be a DeCat FigPin, and there should also be a DeCat digital collectible outside the comic. As those all sell out, again, all for top line revenue is what I'm doing it for. We should be able to raise money at just over $500,000. I mean, hopefully $1 million. Hopefully this market pumps, like, because again, on the balance sheet, there's a couple trillion DeCat. There's a couple, I think maybe like 5 or 7 million OMI, something like that. There's a little bit of DEVVE. We really should get more Definity on there. And then we'll do, so we also own part of a company which there's a part of a company that DeCat owns, DeCat Chronicles anyway, that is, when they do raise money later this year, it'll be in the 5 figures. So that's another nice, couple tens of thousands of dollars. So based on all of that, I think we might be able to get it to $1 million valuation by the end of the year. We might not. It might stay steady at maybe like the $500,000 plus. But also, the guy on 4chan. Now, granted, take that with a huge grain of salt. Famous 4chan predictor has called for new Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana all-time highs this year, saying that Bitcoin will go to 190,000, Ethereum go to 15,000, and Solana will go to 1,000. Not opinions, outputs. Happy New Year, targets adjusted, thesis intact. QE is backed under a new label. Liquidity is returning. The printer goes burr. This is a rotation market. Large caps rotate into meme coins, he says. Positioned accordingly, same structure, same outcome. The simulation repeats. I'm really not a fan of meme coins. Again, well, what is the cat? It's legit my business. And like, I do I have others? Sure. But this one is going to probably be my life's work. Because we won't just have the first DeCat. We'll have other comics under the cat brand. They're unfortunately going to come out of order. Ideally, I would want the second DeCat comic to come out, and then you would have Ladies on Solana, you'd have Solana Wolfpack, you'd have Space Penguins. Now, Solana Wolfpack is already done. That's ready to go. Unfortunately, Ladies on Solana and the Space Penguins, that hasn't even started the art yet. And again, once Space Penguins comes out, then we get Nike the Pig. And then we get DigiJoints, and then we get Heinecoin. We get a bunch of others. But right now, it'll probably be DeCat number 1, the Solana Wolfpack, Nike the Pig. I know, unfortunately, Nike the Pig is going to come out before its prequel, Space Penguins, but, might give a little spoilers too. But that's just the way the cookie's crumbling right now. So that's what we're doing. I am not opening up shares for DeCat to anyone. Unless they want to buy at a crazy valuation, then by all means, go ahead. But that's what we're doing right now. And then there is another deal that we're working out to get a bunch of our characters into a game. I'm not going to say it's a sequel to another game. It's not well known, but the company that is deciding to do that has another game out already. I played it. It's fun. And I'm not just saying that. Like I know gaming. Does it hold a candle to anything that's on my arm? No. But it is still fun, and a decent way to waste time. Anyway, they're coming out with another game at some point. They will use the DeCat characters, so that'll be really cool. So that's what I have for DeCat for right now. Oh God, there's stuff. There's people over here. Smart Buy saying, sometimes I feel like selling all my junk on VeVe for grails, but junk selling for 1 or 2 gems. I mean, I sell 150 and buy 1 AF15 common, and I think I leave them aside. Too much work. What's your opinion? Yeah, I agree. I mean, what is junk? Is it like a comic that there's 30,000 of and nobody really cares about it? Then yeah, sure. Then yeah, I would say that. Or is it something that is just down right now and it probably will go up? Because you could have some good comics that are like three gems. Because people are crazy and they're taking crazy pills. It makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And it's easier for something to go to $3 to $10, 3-ish X, than it is for something to go to 150 to 450. Now, it looks more impressive. Yeah, put 150, now it's worth 300. But it really only doubled. Where if you get $3 to $10, it's not nearly as sexy. But so I don't know what your junk is. If it's truly like junk, then yeah, by all means. But if it's something that's like, well, it's actually not bad. It's actually like a decent stuff. It just seems like junk because the price is so low. Then yeah. Then I would maybe keep that. But again, it depends. Melissa says, exactly, Randy. Gary V meeting with VeVe didn't get him what he wanted, so he went to Recur and got it. Horrible ROI. I knew. So I don't know if you know this story. There's a buddy of mine that he. This is 2021. We had met. I barely remember our first meeting. I remember meeting his friend because he had a really loud like vest. He had like a really loud um like jacket, and we bonded over like Tiffin, Ohio, because I had like been there once, and like the ghost story that I had from there. And long story short, he like remembered me. He messaged me in like March of 22, and he said, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me. I met you at Designer Con." I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Send me a picture of me of him and his family." And he's like, "I'm taking the family to to Mexico, but we have this layover in New York, and I'd like to take you out to dinner." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we go in, we have dinner with the family. It's great. It was awesome. And we we hit it off. And then like a week or two later, might have been still been in Mexico, or maybe came back from it. And it's like, "Hey, I've been hearing a lot about about this recur, and Gary Vaynerchuk. You mentioned that he invested in it. It's like, do we need to worry?" And I was like, I never really paid that much attention to it. I knew, again, they had good licenses. Winklevoss was behind them, Gary Vee was behind, so it was on my radar. But I knew they were doing JPEGs. And then he said, can you look into it? So it's not, it wasn't important enough for me to even make a full video about it. It was at the tail end of a video, where I had said, like, listen, whoever's behind the recur NFTs, they're not taking care of the IP. They made so many mistakes with both the Hey Arnold and the Rugrats pictures. Like these are not things that any fan that would look at it, and I'll bring it up to my guest tomorrow, would be like, they're not taking care of that. This is not what we grew up with. Like, some of it is, but you misspelled. It's not Phoebe Hierda, it's Phoebe Heyerdahl. Harold doesn't have this. Ron's supposed to have this. Supposed to Ms. Ron. Like, it's all of these different things that like a true 90s kid or fan of the shows would have been like, what is this trash? But that wasn't enough. He's just like, well, that can be fixed. Yeah, if you have someone that's not doing the job, you fire them, you hire someone that's right. It's like, they should hire you. It's like, they should hire me. Couldn't afford me. Anyway, he says, I have friends that are going out to Gary Vaynerchuk's VCon. I know it's a lot to ask, but I'd love it if you could go out there and just really take a look at what he's mentioning about it. Like, they could report back, but you're in this space. So he flew me out there, and he didn't tell, like, yeah, my friend Greg and Juan, cool, I'll go meet him. He didn't tell me that it was Greg Schultz, the Biden's campaign manager. That's how we met. So he's a good friend now. He's been on the podcast a couple times. We chat a lot. And then Juan Spedes of God, what's the name of that? Mamitas, the energy drink. Or it's like the White Claw, but that's really popular down in Miami. I was like, oh, hey guys, and I felt I had like such imposter syndrome. Anyway, I go to VCon, and he doesn't mention recur like once, and I was like, so I got to look really good, because there was, I have imposter syndrome because these two super important people, and one, there happened to be a Trophy Kangaskhan PSA 10 there. I was like, guys, this is the one I just sold last year for $279. And you can get it here for like $179. And they're like, oh God, should we buy it? I was like, I would. So that was cool. And then there was a bunch of people that like recognized me, because it was an NFT crowd. I'm like, oh my God, Randy. I was like, oh, hey. And so that it just made me look good. So that was cool. But yeah, he didn't mention recur once. And I knew for like, I knew as soon as I looked at what they were putting out. But then once I went to VCon, okay, like, final nail in the coffin, that confirms it. Don't need to worry about this company ever. Short the shit out of it if you can. And of course, it took a couple of years, but we know what happened. Smart Buys Recur could have been a fine project, could have been the finest project in Web3. They had the right project, right IPs, right team, right leaders, right customers, just wrong intentions. Recur Pass could have been really big. I would argue against the right team and leaders. So the customers, a lot of them were VeVe customers, but again, the right team would have told Nickelodeon, because I went to San Diego Comic-Con that year, 2022. Shout out to SHIRO for letting me introduce a couple of the new stuff that they had. And so that was really cool. Anyway, I go to the Nickelodeon booth and I was like, hey, you know, can I, you know, you guys have these Rugrats NFTs coming out. You have these Hey Arnold NFTs coming out. Can I ask you about them? And the person working the booth is like, what? I was like, yeah. You guys have these, like, you know, it's on Recur. You have to deal with them. And the lady's like, I didn't even know that. And it's like, Patrick, yeah. Do you know how many of these like NFTs we're coming out with? Isn't that a scam? I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, if there was really the right team, they would have made sure that the people at the booths that were the IP holders of the licenses that they had should have been notified, and they should have had that, but they just didn't. And again, the right leaders would have been able to discern which team would have been correct for it. They had good backers, again, Winklevoss twins and Gary Vaynerchuk. But again, they just gave them money and that was it. I never got a recur pass. I never got anything recur because I knew what was going to happen. Ben Robinson says, Randy, I love what you do and watch every day. Meow, thank you. When do we need to accept we are now back in a bear market for many more years, and OMI/digital collectibles have missed the bull run? Again, half the market thinks that in February, March, we will get to like a $40,000 Bitcoin, maybe even $25,000 Bitcoin, because that's where a buddy of mine has some buy orders. Maybe we don't get that low. Maybe we go down to 60. Maybe we go down like 45. Maybe we wick down somewhere, but even that crowd thinks that, okay, we'll have that. They'll stay there for 3 or 4 months, and then K-shaped recovery second half of the year. Then you have the other crowd that says like, no, that's not going to happen because of X, Y, and Z, and we're actually going to start to pump, you know, in spring, maybe late Q1, you know, early spring. So even the ones that are considering that ETH and Bitcoin might fall off that cliff and take a 60% haircut, they're not convinced bear market, because again, there's too much money sitting in money market accounts on the side. There's too many things going for crypto. There's no, I would not believe that for a second. Again, until if we get to the end of the year and nothing is pumped, then yeah, then okay, then we're in another. It would have been a very strange, and I know the 4-year cycle is pretty much dead, but that would have been a very strange outcome for Bitcoin to only go to 126, ETH to barely make all-time high, and for nothing else to run. That would have been a very, very strange way that it could have gone, you know, where nothing goes into alts. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Is it possible that we're in another bear market, and we will be for the next several years? Could be. I would bet all my crypto that doesn't happen, but you know, whatever. OMI price almost consistently dropped before. It has. I would even say, oh yeah, about 4 years, because 2022, I think April. I think that's when it started. It's whenever Russia invaded Ukraine. Smart buys. NFTs missed this bull cycle. NFTs do not survive. No, they still will. I mean, the tech behind it is just that's just gonna outlast everything. So there's actually something I do want to read. What we got here? Let me figure out where it was. For apes. I hope I didn't. I thought I took a screenshot of it. I guess I didn't. I'm an idiot. Oh, maybe I did. Okay. Tat thing. Okay, Tat. All right, Febbers 4. These people and their crazy names. I don't know. Don't understand. Okay, Tat Thang has said, hot take, NFTs didn't die. The pitch did. 4 years ago, when NFTs exploded, people said that they mattered because of what they could become. Digital art, PFPs, domains and usernames, tickets, gaming assets, real estate, degrees and diplomas, anti-counterfeit, identity, memberships, voting, IP and content rights, crowdfunding, financial NFTs, legal contracts, and medical records. The pitch was huge and the future sounded inevitable. Fast forward to now. Nobody talks about what use cases are anymore. All anyone asks is, what's the floor? And that's the uncomfortable truth. Most NFT conversations collapse into price watching, not product building. But here's what gets missed. Projects like Bored Ape Yacht Club, Pudgy Penguins, Chimpers, Memeland, Azuki, Claynosaurs didn't stop building. I would add, obviously, VeVe and Moonbirds on there as well. And DeCat also. They just stopped selling the tech. Instead of forcing NFTs into everything, they flipped the order. Characters first, content first, distribution first, and community first. NFTs became the back end, not the headline. No one buys a Pudgy plush, watches a Chimpers video, or follows an Azuki anime series because it's on chain. They do it because they like the characters. Crypto just helps organize ownership, rewards, access, and upside after the interest exists. That's the real lesson from this cycle. NFTs did not fail. Bad framing did. The winners aren't asking what can NFTs do. They're asking what do people already love and how quietly can NFTs support it. Next run won't be about who mints the loudest. It'll be about which NFTs became so useful and so embedded in culture that nobody needs to say NFT anymore. This post was definitely written by ChatGPT, which is fine. I commented on it saying, this is why I'm excited about the Cat token and their first appearance on VeVe Official later this year. Chris Evers talking about it, saying, these are officially licensed Lucasfilm and Marvel digital collectibles available on VeVe Official. It was always about IP for people like me, like my kid days carrying plastic stormtroopers around in pocket. Now, the limited release 3D AR assets are in my phone. All right, sorry. Also, if y'all could smash that like button, that is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways of Patreon. Smash that super thanks button down below. Thank you, everybody. Smash it, smash it, smash it. Rain check. Okay. Copy that. We'll do. All right. Thank God, one of my appointments canceled tomorrow. Oh, I can take a breather. All right. Sorry, just getting rid of the blah 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 blah. So yeah, NFTs are, again, the technology is going to be around forever. Would you still call Marvel Mighty selling under 3M's junk? Honestly, it depends on the Mighty. Is it a what was that movie that nobody liked? Is it an Eternal? If it's an Eternal, yeah, straight junk. Like I don't think anyone gives a shit about Fastos, or I can't even remember Cersei. I can't even remember their names. Like, I'm forgetting their names as I'm thinking about them. Collectible. Apply. I don't think anyone gives a hoot about Sprite. Okay, Cersei maybe, because I think she banged Iron Man. So yeah. Cersei, because she banged Iron Man. Nobody cares about Kingo. Nobody cares about Druid. Nobody cares about Fastos. The only reason some people might care about Ajax is because she was played by who's the Mexican mommy? Oh my gosh, she's played by Selma Hayek. Yeah, okay. Thena, played by who's the white mommy? Oh God, Angelina Jolie. Nobody cares about Makari. Nobody cares about Gilgamesh. I love to hate Icarus because he was kind of a douchebag in the movie. So I hate him. So I like to hate him. At least he has that going for him. But so you have Cersei that people might like, Ajax and Thena, and then maybe Icarus just because I like to hate him. The rest of them, yeah, probably. Now be advised, I have sub 100s of all of these guys. I've got multiple sets. Looking for sub 100s right now, but yeah, so I don't know if they're gonna be ever, like, you know, big, because again, the movie was trash. Could they? Yeah, I don't know. But if you have Marvel, again, any meaningful, well, I don't know. Let's look at Ant-Man. Oh shit, I'm Ant-Man. Okay, it's got to be the Ant-Man. Okay. Okay, him at $4. I'm not gonna lie. That what there's like 3,600 of him, 4,200 of him. First appearance Ant-Man. That's If I didn't have one, I would, you know, have one. Hope Van Dyne, bro. Hope Van Dyne. She was an Avenger at 235. Bro, I own 39 of her. And you know what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 of them are sub 100. Yeah. I really like her. Um 500,000 OMI for number 80. No, thank you. But yeah, I really like her. Again, I think at some point she might be worth $7 to $10. Like, right? Like, why? And again, there's maybe 3,000 of her. Let's see here. Oh, there's 4,200 of her. Okay. So that she might double. You know, maybe triple. I like her. I would not consider her or Ant-Man junk. Again, the Eternals I talked about, yeah, absolutely. But I would not consider her or Ant-Man junk. Even, let's go to Cassie Lang. Where's she at? Now, Cassie's a rare, even though she's been in one movie. The details on her, 3,200. So, you know, about 1,000 less. Obviously not as popular as Wasp or Ant-Man. But she's Stinger. I love her. I love Catherine Newton. There's no sub 100s on her, probably because I have most of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have 19 of her. I repeat, I have 19 sub 100 Kathy Langs. Why is that important? I just like her. Could be Young Avenger. Bleeves Crypto saying, what's good? What's going on, Bleeves? How's it going, fam? I'm behind on comments, but it's good to see you here. Jason Payne said Nickelodeon peeps should just fire themselves. That's shameful. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Piss me the heck off. Who says there's some vids saying that institutions are taking away your traditional. Yeah, the 4-year cycles are done. They're done. They've been done for a while now. So they are correct. Those videos are correct. Not even a super cycle. Again, the 4-year cycle is kind of gone. You think it's gonna be? I think we're gonna pump later this year. Might take 8 to 12 months, but I think we're gonna pump 8 to 10 months. Or we could pump, you know, in 2 months. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and the buddy of mine was saying that, like, hey, oh shit, give me one sec. Okay, copy that. Anyway, the super cycle, there's someone that I was talking to the other day, and I was like, hey, because one of my companies is going to get, one of the companies that I own is going to have a nice buyout, probably in 6 months, and I could sell some shares pretty soon. I think in the next couple of weeks, of it at a discount, obviously, unfortunately, because, you know, just for liquidity. And then my friend said, do it. I was like, you know, like, but this is like a guaranteed. This will get bought out later this year. I'm going to have a fudge ton of money, and I'll just, you know, why would I sell? I'll give you the skinny. I'll give you the scoop. If I don't sell anything now and I wait for it to get bought out, it'd be 400K for me. And he's like, well, you know, what could you sell at now? It's like, well, I could sell for some of it to, you know, like half the price, and some of it for like a third of the price, taking that 66% hit. He's like, so even if you sold half of it, you know, and you get, you know, 200K, for, well, actually half of it, so 200K at the price of half would be 100K, and then the other half at a third off. Actually, give me one sec here. Okay, times. Okay, number 2. Yeah, it'd be 100K, and then at 67K. So it'd be like I could sell everything now for like 167K. And he's just like, the market is not going to be the same in 6 to 8 weeks from now. And he was saying this like a couple days ago. So he said that if you could do that, do it. Take that hit, take that 167K, put it into crypto, because he says the market will not be the same from now. And he does TA. He is a lot richer than I am, and he is. It's not like his riches came from like being a doctor or being like, like outside of crypto. He's been in this for a while. He'll probably have. I mean, he's probably already decamillionaire. He'll probably have well over $100 million by the end of the whenever blow off top is. It might even be 200 million. So he's very good at what he does, and that dude's like an oracle, right? Like he's an oracle, and he knows. And so I'll probably take a little bit of it because I don't want to. I want to take his advice, and I'll definitely take some, probably. But at the same time, if I do that and then the market dips again, it's like, fuck. Like I've put so much. Like, what have I put? $750,000 into crypto, maybe 8, and what's it worth? Like less than 200. That's not a fun thing to do, is buy and keep going. And again, most of my wealth is in companies, and it's not it's not. I don't want to do that again. Like, I've done that so often the last 4 years. Put a bunch of money in, goes down, money. And again, it's not the fact that I'm putting into like these meme projects or these projects built on hopium. It's all stuff that's good quality stuff that have businesses. They're being backed by the stuff, but it's just it's been a very, very rough bear market for like 4 years in a row. Like, this is like unprecedented. So yeah, the idea of taking another $250,000 hit to then put 167 in, and then let's say it gets cut in half again. I'm just not doing that. Now maybe that's a sign, like, okay, Randy's not putting that much more in. Bottom of the market's here. Maybe. Why is my hair going all crazy? Okay, we're just gonna let it fly. Let the freak flag fly for right now. So I will take a little. I don't know how much I'll take. Maybe 30K. Chuck it in. I don't know. To do that, I have to sell like 60K. Maybe just 10K. I don't know. I'll let everyone know what happens. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a short thing where, again, I could put that in the next 4 weeks, and then in February, March, we just take another 50% hit in Bitcoin and ETH, and another 80% in alts, and I'm not doing that. I have my bags. I'll add a little bit more, but I'm not going to add, like, I'm not going to take a 250. I'm not going to take $250,000 hit on the shares of companies just to put in 167, just for it to get cut in half again. I'm not doing it. I got most of my bags, but I'll take some. Or he could be right, and which case, if he is right, again, my stuff will go boom, and I'll be fine with that. Bill Gardner says, "What's up, everyone? What's going on, Bill Gardner? How you doing?" The Eternals are dumb. They're great characters. Like, so if you read Secret Wars, Jonathan Hickman is just a god. I love that man. Cersei's in it, I think. Yeah. And this is why I love it, because even the Eternals, that are these like metahumans that are like, they don't worry about street level stuff. Captain America comes into a scene and they're like, okay, Cap's here. Everyone shut up and listen. Like, he's that respected, like, everywhere. Like, goddamn, I love him so much. So the Eternals are really cool. It's just the movie made him suck, and the Eternals comic on VeVe's first comic I bought. Aw, love that. Connor, give me peace sign, peace man, peace. Invite. I'll explain what's happening. Okay, all right. Please, you should have messaged me. Okay. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Hang on, Bleaves. Oh gosh. Where am I? Copy. Let me get the Bleaves on. Oh God, Bleaves, where are you? Bleaves. Spring. Okay. Come get this bread. Oh, I hope that was. Yeah, I think that's fine. Hope he's still here. Nah. Yeah, I knew the cycles were gone, but I thought we were going to get a super cycle as going away party. We can hope. But a super cycle or not, I'm gonna go harder than ever on the buy button. Same here, fam. Same here. Hopefully we get the Bleaves. Well, while we're waiting on them, let's go over the Debbie. Now let's go over Definity. We'll wait for him. Definity. Oh, down 13%. It was down 20% before, and we had a little bit of buy. It was down to a $2 million market cap. Where DeCat was at like 60% of its market, 50-something% of its market cap. Now it went up. Now it's up to 2.2. But yeah, it had a way big down. Oh, let's get add to stage. All right, let me go and re-quote this over on X, and I'll say like, let's welcome at Believes. My man, how you doing?
What's going on, man?
Oh, a lot of stuff. All good things. Well, mostly good things. I mean, obviously the crypto market is not the best, but you have a little bit of a pop because Jerome Powell got he got that little, what's that called? I don't know if you saw before. Prosecutors have opened inquiry into Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
Yeah, he just smashed Donald Trump publicly.
I saw that. He mentioned that the DOJ is threatening the Fed with criminal charges for refusing to follow Trump's interest rate demands. Now, I don't think you could prove that in a court of law, but I think we all kind of know that that's probably what happened.
Of course, that's what happened. But, we know when Donald Trump is targeting somebody, why he's targeting, because he has impulse control problems. So
I think he knows exactly. I don't think it's a problem. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And it's like for like I don't think it's an impulse control at all. I think is it an issue? Yeah, but I don't think it's. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. It's very calculated.
Yeah, I ultimately what we're doing right now is not necessarily a power grab from Trump, but what he's trying to do is trying to stretch the limits of the power of the presidency to benefit himself. So that he can do what he wants to do the way he wants to do it. Really, what he wants to be is he wants to have an American democracy, but he wants to call a timeout so he can be the king for a little while so that he can do what he knows is the right thing to do, whether it isn't really relevant to his line of thought. The important thing is he wants to be able to control whatever's going on.
Agreed. There is so I guess there's a lot going on. If you look at the news, like, okay, Venezuela, whether you broke international law or not, which, yeah, you technically can't do that, but I feel like international law is only as enforceable or only as real as it is enforceable, and nobody's about to turn over Donald Trump to the UN. And then you have the ICE killing of that lady. I think she was a lesbian, where unfortunate incidents happened where I think the guy might have had a little PTSD because he was like dragged from a car like months or years prior. Whether he should have been actually serving this position or not with that, I don't know. It's unfortunate that that lady was unalived. But yeah, she did hit him. Now, was Donald Trump truthful when he said that she ran him over? No, I didn't see him go under the car, but I did see her hit him with the car. So you have that whole big thing. And then you have this with the markets. It's kind of hard to know where to look with what's going on politically, the news cycle. And I don't watch the news either.
So Renee Good, I think her name is.
I would comment F down below.
I hope whatever, I hope everybody who's involved in the process gets whatever it is that they're seeking. I look, if it was okay to kill her because she didn't comply with the law, it was okay for the Romans to kill Jesus. It was okay for that cop to shoot Ashley Babbitt. So if you're defending it, make sure that you're telling people that Ashley Babbitt deserved what she got and Jesus deserved what they got. I mean, be consistent. I don't give a shit what your opinion is. Just be consistent with it and don't use it for political clout. So I hope everybody gets whatever it is that they want out of it. Now, in my mind, I did watch the video, and everybody, based on political ideology, decided to only take a certain portion of the video to make their decision based on what it was. The people on the right, they chose, let's ignore the fact that she was nice to the guy and compliant with the guy until such time as the guy's partner came running up on her and said, "Get the fuck out of the truck, lady." Like he was going to arrest her. He didn't have the authority to arrest her to begin with, but he was threatening her. She was being threatened by these ICE agents, and then she took off like, these guys are out of their minds. Like, this psycho is coming at me right now in my car. So I understand. And by the way, there was no warning or anything like that. This guy just opened fire on her. So whatever happens. I don't give a shit. And it's not going to affect crypto. I'm here because you had some people asking about crypto. So let's talk about what's going to happen with crypto. Number one, the Clarity Act is going to be voted on Thursday, or at least the markups are going to start on Thursday. According to Cynthia Loomis, they do have an agreement in part with Democrats on exactly what they want it to say. What Democrats want, the most important thing that they want is whatever Donald Trump is doing in crypto, they don't want him to do. That's really what it's going to come down to. Now, the problem with their assessment of it is Donald Trump's not involved with World Liberty Financial. Donald Trump is not involved with any of these. His kids are involved. So Donald Trump is not part of this. Now, if you want him to divest himself from the Trump meme coin, he's already divested. I'm sure. Like they're beating up, they're barking up a tree that doesn't exist, which is silly, but that's what they're doing. So they're going to want some kind of promises and assurances that government entities or people like that can't do anything with it. And then they're going to vote yes. There are too many people right now that want to vote yes for that want to vote yes for this. There's too many Democrats, there's too many Republicans. So the Clarity Act is about to pass. Now, that's going to lay the framework out and the guidelines for the companies that we see starting to enter the market, like Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, all of these big investment banks. They're setting themselves up for what's coming next. And what's coming next is going to be a big boom in blockchain. Now, it won't be, I think, you and I talked about this probably a year ago or something. And I said, the crypto that we see today will not be the crypto that we see in a couple years. So I think you said the 4-year cycle is broken, and you're right. The 4-year cycle is broken, but the 4-year cycle never really existed except in our minds anyway.
Good point.
And the reason that it existed was because of liquidity. The rise of liquidity in the markets was actually on a 4-year cycle. And it's on a 4-year cycle right now. But if you go look at the liquidity, if you look at M2 money supply, it continues to print. So what you've seen really, and what we paid for on October 10th, what we paid for was a huge leverage wash. Leverage has become the demon inside crypto. It used to be you bought Bitcoin, you held Bitcoin, Bitcoin went up, you cashed out your Bitcoin, and you made money off of it. Then CME got involved, and suddenly you had leverage trading, and then all of the institutions got involved, and all the centralized exchanges started to do they started to do that. Well, the problem is Binance is not only a centralized exchange, Binance is their own market maker. Wintermute is the largest market maker. Jane Street is a gigantic market maker. All of these market makers they're using these order books and they're using AI to look at the order books and find where the pockets of liquidity are. And then they just start selling their Bitcoin down until they hit that spot and they liquidate as many people as possible. It's a brutal game that they're playing. So what happened on October 10 is Wintermute threw $1 billion onto exchanges. Then they started to sell off all of theirs, but they weren't just doing it in small batches. They weren't just doing it in large batches. They were doing it in micro transactions with an AI agent that was just selling, filling up the order books to the point that the API for Binance broke. So that's what caused everything. And then all of a sudden, nobody could cash out or anything like that. So, some of these cryptos went to zero and effectively liquidated everybody. So that's why Binance put up, I want to say it was close to $700 million, which, by the way, $700 million is nothing to Binance because they make ridiculous amounts of money. So they put up $700 million. Wintermute originally said they were going to sue them for everything. And then they backed down immediately when people discovered that Wintermute was behind it, actually. But then that leaves us, well, what's now why, if that was it, and that was the deflushing of the leverage, then what has happened since then? Well, liquidity is still the lord of the land. And not everybody was able to cash out their Bitcoin. So every time we get a pump, you're getting a sell into that pump because all of the other market makers, they need money. So when you've wrecked everybody, when you've de-risked all these different people with these deleveraging, what you've done is you've sucked up the liquidity and these people have cashed it out. The lucky people, the fortunate people were cashing it out. Now everybody else is playing catch up. So every time you get Bitcoin goes to 86,000, 85,000, then all of a sudden it's up at 91,000 and it can't get above 91,000 because the people who were buying it are now selling it on these smaller transactions.
Yeah.
So what you're getting is you're getting all these different companies who are coming in and they just find their levels and they just keep selling. Well, what you're now seeing, or at least what we're starting to see right now in the market, is that's ending. What we're seeing now is the market has, I think Raoul Pal called it liquidity overhang. All of these companies that needed that liquidity, they keep selling into the market so that they have capital so that they can buy more. But of course, they also have to have it in order to make a dip. So they're kind of trapped. So they're slowly but surely cashing out a little bit, buying the dip, cashing out a little bit, buying the dip, cashing out a little bit, buying the dip, instead of doing these massive liquidation waves. So that means that people think, okay, well, the leverage position, in order for me to make all this back, I got to put some leverage back into it. So the leverage game is starting all over again. So now where we are is, if you watch the order books and you watch what's going on in the market right now and you watch liquidity just shot up even more. U.S. liquidity just shot up even more. The federal government for the United States injected close to, I want to say $70 billion into the economy in December, and they're going to continue into January, not calling it quantitative easing, but they're calling it stock or bond buybacks or bond buybacks. So what they're doing is they're taking some of the debt away so that we're writing down some of the debt that we have in the United States, which is great. That's exactly what we need to be doing. And they're using their money to keep all of the markets afloat while people work through their liquidity issues. Well, we're starting to see signs that the liquidity issues are being handled, which means that there's no more magical, crazy dip ready to happen. What we're looking for right now is we're in an idle situation in which the sellers, excuse me, the sellers are starting to become exhausted because they've done what they needed to do. And remember, most of these companies bought at much lower prices. So they're pulling huge amounts of liquidity out, but it also means they have huge amounts ready on the sidelines in order to buy more. And people have come in, and what they've done is they've replaced their positions, if they're 30 and 40 and 50,000 positions, they've been replaced by people buying ETFs to the tune of 80 or 90,000. So now they're in a much better place. So the liquidity is now there for them to start buying more, and they're interested in buying more. Michael Saylor is not a lone wolf out here. Everybody's out here doing it. Tom Lee is doing it with Ethereum.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before everything starts to rip. And again, it always goes back to global liquidity. Global liquidity is continuing to shoot up. Now, if you go back in time and you look at every bull market that we had, liquidity started doing this when it was time for it to go down. And like 90 days after the liquidity started to dip, the market started to dip and the bull run was over. So the other piece that you have, the final piece that really needs to fit into the equation is this. Just like you were saying, that 4-year cycle is broken. The Bitcoin bulls believe in that 4-year cycle, not because of liquidity, but because they believe in Bitcoin and they believe that Bitcoin halving is what drives the market. They're just misinformed, and that's okay. So what they're seeing right now is they're selling off because they saw what happened with Wintermute and they were like, well, it's over. So they started selling too. Now they're on the sidelines and they're wondering, hey, wait a minute. By now we should be at 75. By now we should be at 70 or 65. Like, we should have seen a catastrophic dump happen by this point. So now they're starting to second guess, which means that they're going to re-enter positions here. And the ones that are holding massive amounts still, they're going to have to create their own opportunities. So we could still see a dip. We could still see some downside. But ultimately, if you have a lot of liquidity going into the markets, which we're now seeing starting again, if you have de-risked everybody and de-leveraged everybody, which we did back in October, if you're seeing all these things happen, then the only way to go is up. So now it's just a matter of the one thing that's holding the market back, and that's the Clarity Act. The Clarity Act has not created guardrails for massive institutions to get in. So what you're going to see is Thursday, we should get some information about the Clarity Act. Now, the insiders will let you know what the market looks like. The market's going to look like, most likely, we're going to see Bitcoin to 95, maybe 97,000, maybe this week. We'll start to see a little push on Bitcoin. It'll be a quiet push. It'll be that, it'll be that move, where you're like, just going up. It's going up a little bit. It's going up. It's feeling good. It's feeling good. It's feeling good. Then we'll get a fib retracement, come back down to 90, 93, something like that. Then all of a sudden, you're going to see just a massive move, because now all of a sudden there's clarity in the market. And then we're going to see a massive Bitcoin run. Now, the problem with any of the thesis is the rest of the market corresponds to Bitcoin, but we don't get an altcoin season until Bitcoin is done. Bitcoin's not going to be done for a few minutes. So we'll get drug along with the broader market. We might even get an altcoin season. We might even get like a meme coin season pop off in the middle of it all. But Bitcoin, when it hits, I'm going to say 135 to 150,000, that's when we're going to see a cascade of selling, because that'll be, if you just look at Fibonacci, and it plays out. If you just do it, it's 134,800. Fibonacci tells us that's where everybody's going to start selling. So around 135,000, we'll start to see people exiting the market, and then we're going to find out another strength level. But we'll have another new all-time high for Bitcoin. Then that liquidity rotation comes into play, and if that liquidity rotation is good, then we're going to see Ethereum at 7,000. I'm still not convinced it's going to be 9,000, but a lot of people are. Somewhere between 9 and 12,000, which was my original estimate. I just don't see it in the charts right now. So $7,000 for Ethereum. I think we see $250, maybe $300 on Solana. Remember, there's a lot more Solana in circulation now than there was before. Okay. So Solana's got a much longer way to go to get back.
So that seems pretty low for Solana, given that Bitcoin and Ether. Yeah.
So in October of 2024, or November of 2024, when Solana hit its all-time high, which was $295, when it did that, it had a certain supply, and its market cap was, 150 billion or whatever the number was, right? Well, it hit 150 billion, I want to say in September of this year. It went back up to an all-time high market cap, but it only went to $230 or $240 because there's so much more Solana in circulation now than there was back then. So it's got a harder road because it's the same as Ethereum. It's got an infinite supply.
Yeah.
It's burning some, it's minting some. It's burning some, it's minting some. So it's either inflationary or deflationary. And right now it's inflationary. So Solana is going to have a harder time. It'll need to double its market cap. Now, it could do that, by the way, because it was just announced that Solana is part of the X app. So the Everything app, when it comes out, will have Solana rails on it. So there is a method by which Solana goes to $300 to $500. But again, it has to become deflationary in order to start pulling that down. Then you have XRP. XRP is now going to merge into the Swift payment system, which is gigantic. Well, we don't see it right now, but it's gigantic. If you look at the flows on the ETFs for XRP, even though it's still rudimentary and still just in the green zone, if you will, every day it's inflow after inflow after inflow, and it's going to get better and better and better and better. Like it was the first, it went to 1 billion faster than Bitcoin. So, I mean, it's going. These things are going to start taking off pretty soon. The other thing, and the final piece to remember is precious metal rotation. Precious metal rotation, gold is still near an all-time high. Could go higher, but looks like it's topping out. And it's looked like it a couple times. So by the time you get to the third or fourth top, you know it's got to be the end. It always is. Silver is running a little bit behind gold, but it's having a run up too. And guess what's after that? Copper. And copper supply is more limited right now than gold and silver, and the demand for copper is continuing to go up. So we might see a rotation into copper before it's all done, but after that, guess where everything goes? It goes into Bitcoin. It goes into crypto. So we are on the verge of everything that everybody's been wanting to see. The only problem that you're going to have with it, and by the way, it's not going to be like Boiler Room. It's not going to be like the only problem you're going to have is where do I spend all the money? The problem you're going to have is back in the old days, there was, 30 or 40 or 50,000 cryptos. Now there's millions of cryptos. So the pool is vastly diluted. So you're going to get crazy runs, but you better pick the ones that are good. You better pick the ones that matter. You better pick the ones that have technology, that have use case, that have function, that have everything that you need or that you think needs to happen for a business to thrive. Okay. Because otherwise your meme coins will have moments, but they'll do what meme coins do. They'll pump, then they'll have a 90% retracement, then they'll pump again, they'll have a 90% retracement. Same thing every time. The very few that will actually survive, like the Flokies and stuff like that, they find ways to create value for investors. And we're going to be at the point soon where value to investors matters a whole lot more than just a cute dog or a cute cat or something like that. Or we're also going to look at blockchains, and we don't need all the blockchains that we have. Now, we need infinite blockchains. I shouldn't say it that way. We need infinite blockchains, but we have probably 10 capable blockchain companies right now, from Ethereum down to Avalanche, that can service everything that anybody needs, and especially Avalanche, because Avalanche is spinning up layer 1 shards. So you can have your own crypto and you can create a crypto coin instead of a token. And that's not nothing. You're not attached to Avalanche. You can never have Avalanche and you could still be on the AVEX blockchain. And you just have a Bleeze crypto coin. And it's a coin. It's not a token. It's a layer 1 coin. It's used for your game or your business, whatever it is, So at some point, we're going to see mass adoption from, let's say, like retailers. Remember years ago, the gift cards. Gift cards are going to be blockchain. They're going to be crypto.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so that'll be Avalanche. That'll be Solana. That'll be Ethereum. And we don't need anything beyond a couple of these. Maybe a few more outliers here and there. Maybe some upstarts to keep business swarming. But then you also have big businesses are going to start stepping in, and they're going to start buying up some of these cryptos, and they're going to start merging some of these cryptos. This is the way the world works. So what you expect to see in an altcoin season is probably not exactly what you're going to see on an altcoin season, which is, again, why I say 7,000 for Ethereum, which is why I say maybe 300 or 400 or 500 for Solana. because the market is the market and things are diluted right now. You know, you might see something like Definity. I don't know what their volume is right now on Forex trading, but
for the token.
I don't know. I don't even know. I have no idea.
It's like a couple thousand a day. Like today's a little different. It's like 8,000 or 9,000, but it's mostly like 2,000 a day. It's very low.
But the big thing was they make their money off of Forex trading, and I don't know what their volume is.
They're crushing it.
Right.
They're crushing it with that.
Right. So they have a business model that's making money without the crypto. They don't, you know, they'll find something to do with the crypto. They'll give you a discount, maybe a steeper discount to encourage people to buy or incentivize people to buy at some point.
Yeah.
But they don't need a crypto. Dev is going through some stuff right now because they're waiting. They've, you know, Tom built Fias. Matter of fact, by the way, I'm going to talk to you about this because I got some, Tom and I are going to do some stuff together.
Oh, same.
And it might be really good for AI.
Same. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I can't. We'll talk off camera about that. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff going on. I guess where I'll let you finish and then I'll say
so Dev is most likely not even going to be a crypto by a certain point. Like it'll be a crypto in terms of gas fees and transaction fees and have value based on being its own crypto.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be buying a lot of Bitcoin on their exchange. You're not going to be buying a lot of, I mean, maybe let me rephrase that. You'll be buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, XRP. You're going to be buying shit coins and meme coins on it. You're going to be buying
stocks as well.
Real world stocks. You're going to be buying real world silver tokenized, copper, gold. You're going to be buying real estate tokenized. That's what you're going to be doing with Dev. So Dev has a place because it's T+0 settlement. So it's instantaneous settlement. And that is the only crypto right now that does that. So there are some that will have niche positions. But, you know, for the larger scale, we already have plenty of them. Base is going to be a monster at some point. You know, Coinbase will do whatever anybody wants them to do in order to, like, I do not like Coinbase. You know that by now. Coinbase will do whatever it takes to you know, to get in there and make sure that they get their money. Not that it's good or bad or indifferent, just it's a testament to who they are and what their character really is. I mean, listen, I'll put it this way. Coinbase now has their own prediction market. And if you have your own prediction market, you are a shady motherfucker. Okay.
You can manipulate that prediction market.
Right. I have no respect for those prediction markets. As a matter of fact, if anybody is wondering where your money is right now, why people are not in crypto, prediction market. That's where everybody went because it's easier and there's less, it's more instantaneous gratification. You either win or you lose based on your wager. And then you just move on to the next one. If you lose, you just go. You don't wait 6 months to see if the devs are going to make it pump. So your degens, they're playing Kalshi, they're playing Polymarket, and any up and coming right now.
A lot of young men I see are doing FanDuel and DraftKings, and they're just like getting their asses handed to them. And they're also for Polymarket, again, it tends to be the most accurate, which is wild. Like it tends to be more accurate than a lot of like analyst stuff saying like, oh, this is going to happen. Even for like cryptos and like, okay, the Fed will probably cut a quarter rate this month, or they're not going to this month. But then there's some off the wall stuff like the chat, like, okay, what is going to come out before GTA 6? And it's like the new Playboy Cardi album, the new this. And there's a 49% chance, according to Polymarket, that Jesus returns before GTA 6 comes out. And it's not like, oh yeah, it was like $50,000. There's $7 million in bets on that one. How is there a 49% chance that happens? Unless it does. I don't fucking know. I don't know.
Every blue moon, I log into GTA Online.
Yeah.
Just to run around, stuff like that. But to be honest with you, like in my private time, if I play any game, I play Skyrim, heavily modded, just for a goof when I got some spare time. But like on my computer right now, I've got Red Dead Redemption 2. I've got Skyrim. I've got Grand Theft Auto 5. I've got The Evil Within. And then just a bunch of, you know, just like Android games.
Yeah.
That, you know, so I'm not really much of a gamer, but I don't know what's going on with Grand Theft Auto. I don't even know what's going on with Skyrim 6 or 5. I don't know. Whatever number it is, it's coming up, you know.
So something I wanted to bring up to before we get too far off track is there's a buddy of mine that had mentioned that on when was the bloody day in crypto? The 10th?
October 10th. Okay.
He said October 9th, he got a call telling him to close out his long positions. Didn't ask why, and he did, thank God. He said the same person or group of people that told him about that said in February, March, we're looking at like a huge 50% dip off of Bitcoin and ETH. And could go down to 40. He's got buy orders set at 25, which I think is ridiculous. But I had another guy on, Will, you'd like him yesterday, being a TA, saying like, yeah, that's possible as well. He has buys set at 40K. There's another guy that I talked to last week said that in more along what you were saying, in 6 to 8 weeks, this crypto market will not be the same in a good way. And we've been talking about how things will pump later this year. Do you think it's possible that both are true, where we do have that big one last giant shakeout, and then we have the K-shaped recovery second half of the year? Or do you think that, because from what I've noticed, it's half and half. Like there's not, yeah, like 10 people think this, but 90% of people think this. It seems to be that it's half and half, that think that we could have that giant dump, or we just skip that dump and we go right to pump.
So here's what I would say to that. The billionaires that talk publicly, they're pointing in one direction. They're not pointing in two directions. Also, they're billionaires for a reason. They're pointing in one direction. So that's where we're going. That doesn't mean that's where we end. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have a dip. Doesn't mean, first of all, in order for us to have that sort of move, you have to entice people to come into the market. In order to entice people to come into the market, you have to make an attractive sale price. So when your cryptos are on sale, that's when you have buyers that start to step in, and that's where the magic happens. So there's always the possibility that there could be some kind of dip, but you have to look globally and, you know, just kind of lay of the land everything. There is nothing going on right now that's going to wreck these markets. And even if there is, Donald Trump is going to lie to you and tell you that everything is perfect and fine. You have to remember who you've got in charge.
Even if it's not, I think that he wants the markets to go burr. He wants to be able to get those $2,000 checks. But does he want that to happen earlier in this year or middle of the year, right before election time?
Well, so what's February, March? February, March is going to be right near the tax time when people are starting to get their money. That's when you want people entering the market to buy anyway.
Okay,
right?
Good point. Good point.
Then let's flash forward 2 months from March, and you're talking May of 2026. And what happens in May of 2026? Jerome Powell is fucking out, which means that Donald Trump will appoint somebody who will start to cut rates dramatically. And because it doesn't require 60 vote majority anymore, it doesn't require supermajority for appointments. It only requires 51 or 50 with the vice president. Then he will get his nominee, and 50 basis point rate cuts will start right away, maybe even 100 point basis cuts. So in order for them, meaning the ghouls and the goblins of the market, to do whatever it is that they might want to do, they have to get to work now, because if they wait, they will have no shot. There'll be too many people looking to get into the market. So everything is lining up for a massive run. So now it's just a matter of, you know, what's the dip going to end up being, and will it even matter at that point?
With that, there's Mike Jones saying, Debbie going to 8 cents for big run. My predictions are always right. I don't know if his predictions are right or not, but based on what it's been doing, yeah, it's not that far off. I don't think they really start to move in any meaningful positive way until they get that virtual asset service provider license, which they need the Clarity Act to pass. Now, they don't need that. They could just buy a company that has it, but they could also, again, I would say early April, because that's what they need for the big partner announcement. Now, there's obviously other stuff going on that will affect it, but I think that's what most people are kind of expecting it to move the needle. What's your take on that?
Well, the CASP is the most important thing. The VASP is nice to have, but the CASP license encompasses the VASP license. So really it's the CASP that they need the most. And the way it's sitting right now is, I don't even know if it's been applied for.
I think it definitely has.
Well, I think it definitely has too, but I can't verify that because it's not public.
Yeah.
It's only public when it gets approved. Also, we don't know where they applied for it either. So, you know, there's a lot of vague stuff going on with Dev that I don't like that it's vague, but I understand why it's vague. You know what I mean? So, you just have to believe these guys or not believe them. Invest in things that you believe in, and if you don't believe in it, don't invest in it. It's pretty simple. You know what I mean? The bad part about Dev is very simple. You haven't been misled in any way, but it sure feels like you were kind of pushed in a direction that things would be happening at a much more robust clip.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would say. Going all the way back to August of 2024, you know, they were talking about it's imminent going into the end of 2024 by June of 2025. Then when you got closer to June of 2025, it was by the end of the year. Then as we got to the end of the year, it was, well, in the next 30 or 90 days. But that's not even confirmed.
Yeah.
And by the way, that conversation was almost 30 days ago. So, you know, it's hard to say where Dev really is. And the reason that it's difficult at this point is because you got Ray, who's an absolute car salesman kind of guy. And then you have Tom, who's a pragmatic doom and gloom kind of guy. So who's speaking for Dev? Tom.
Yeah.
And, you know, he likes to just, he likes to tell you, look, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Even if he does, he's just going to tell you, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's very hard to get a reading on what's going on there. I think, look, I think that they've done a disservice to people by not having people like you and me as like paid spokespeople. I think they've done a disservice to the market, and not the market in general, but to the investors that rely on information, that want to just be reminded that somebody cares about their project. You know, that like that part, I think they failed at dramatically. When they let me go, they did it in the worst possible way. And it took me about 6 months before I went public with it, because they pissed me off additionally when Phil kind of came at me for just ridiculous stuff, you know. So, but they really should have done something. They really should have had some kind of system set up. Like, for example, I don't know if you know this, but I get paid by Bitcast for BitTensor.
Yes.
I get paid in Tau for making videos for BitTensor and the Tau network. And the way that they pay me is based on what they call exhaust. So they offer up a certain amount, and based on the number of views you get, that's how much you get. That's what Dev should be doing this entire time. So I make a Dev video, whatever views I get, you make a Dev video, whatever views you get, somebody else makes a Dev video, whatever views you get, we all split the pot, whatever it is, based on how many views, how much engagement you got, stuff like that. It's a fascinating concept, but they've just not put any effort. And by the way, the reason that they haven't is because, according to Ray, and I have this from the horse's mouth, Ray doesn't want to pay me $2,000 if in 60 days he thinks it's going to be worth $100,000, because then he's just giving me $100,000 to make some videos for some crypto DJs. That's really what his logic is. So he's trying to be very tight with it because he doesn't want to give away tons of money. And in his mind, they're at the finish line. So Tom, not as convinced because Tom's not in on the daily inner workings, but Ray feels like they're at the finish line and it's about to go over the hump and something's
And
about
that was, and he had mentioned this, I'm guessing months ago, right?
Which part?
Right. Hey, like he doesn't want to pay you because he thinks it'll 50x.
Yeah.
And so, and if he was at the finish line months ago, or he thought he was at the finish line months ago, now it's half a year later, or even I guess close to a year later.
No, 2 months. Just 2 months.
Okay, just 2 months ago.
Yeah,
okay,
this was in December.
Oh, okay. So even just a month. Okay. So then, yeah, they're probably close. I mean, so they're 30 to 90 days again, just to get that CASP license. Then they have to wait a few weeks after that to actually announce the part. And again, I think once that happens, they just get eyes on the project, and then they just you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube.
All they need at this point is a nice little 10x. A nice little 10x would validate them. It's not going to make everybody rich, but it would validate them. And people would be like, oh my God, what is this project that's suddenly at $100 million market cap, or $200 million market cap? What is going on with this thing? Then people would get curious and they would start to do research and they'd be like, oh my God, this could be game changing. That's all they need. All they need is the right marketing in the right place. All they need is the right market maker pumping their bag. All they need is just the right things to fall in place, like a few dominoes. And then the next thing you know, it just goes out of control. I mean, like most of the people that are arguing right now are saying, well, what about Canton? What about digital? I think it's the Digital Media Group or Temple Digital.
I don't know there.
Canton.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Launched, and Canton's been around for about 3 years longer than Dev. They launched in 2014. Dev launched in 2017. So they finally got around, and they're now at $1 billion market cap. And Temple Digital is announced that they're building on the Canton network, which is another big one. They got like 150 million in seed funds. Well, while Dev's talking about needing, seed funding rounds and loans and stuff to finish everything that they're doing, these guys are already making it happen. So people are making a comparison. It's an unfair comparison, but it is a comparison. So, they're and the good thing is, or should have been, that they were supposed to be first to market. But their partner doesn't care whether they're first to market. Their partner cares about protecting their own IP, their own privacy, and all that kind of stuff. So, they're in a situation, and I don't know what's going to happen with that situation. I really don't.
No.
But again, a nice little 10x right now from, well, that wouldn't even be an all-time high. So let me just say a nice little 15x, maybe. A nice little 15x to $2.50. Somewhere around there.
We were at like 15 cents this morning. So
that would be validating for them. So, that goes up to $2.50. Then you got something. You know what I mean?
But obviously you would need the announcement for that to happen. I don't think you can get
not
that
necessarily.
We're in a really rough market. Like everyone's like about to commit to the fuku.
Right, but we're in a tough market based on what?
Nothing's been pumping.
Based on where money's rotating. Based on where money's rotating, not where money is.
Stocks are great. Gold is great. Silver's great.
Exactly.
But
we're fine. If you have something that people want to invest in, they will invest in it.
Yeah.
End of story. It has nothing to do with the market. And by the way, we're at 3.09 trillion market cap. That's higher than the last bull run. We're not in bad shape. It's just that most of the money migrated into Bitcoin because Bitcoin had that nice run. You know what I mean? So we haven't had the altcoin season that we've been looking for in all this time because, to be fair, the alts haven't been worth investing in.
Most cryptos are not worth investing in, like even the bigger ones. So this was from last year, where they're talking about the massive crypto TAM opportunity, where its real estate had 380 trillion in the market, equities had 110, bonds had 135 trillion, money markets had 21 trillion. I think that's like 25 now, and crypto as right at 3 trillion. So when you have the biggest wealth transfer in history going from boomers to millennials, none of my millennial friends are going to invest in bonds. Maybe if they inherit like 100 million, sure, they'd put some in a T-bill, get that 5% like guaranteed. But none of my friends are ever going to invest in bonds. It's just all going to be crypto. They'll do real estate, they'll do crypto, they'll do the SPY and the VOO, but they're not doing bonds. I don't care how much money they get.
Well, bond yields are the safest. I mean, that's everybody's decision to make. Bond is the safest thing to invest in. Like, why wouldn't you invest in the safest thing? You know what I mean?
Just millennials are just not that.
All I'm saying is if you have $10 million, if you have $10 million and you don't put $4 million into bonds and take the other 6 million and put most of that into Bitcoin and then live off of the rest, what the fuck are you doing with your life? You know what I mean? The bond yield would give you a guaranteed 4% return.
Yeah.
So that's $160,000 a year on your bond yields. And then whatever Bitcoin does, when it breaks out and when it does something, you know, now you've got 20 million, 30 million, whatever, you know, whatever the number is. Like, it's very simple. Investing is actually very, very simple at this point.
I'll tell you about the high risk lending company that I used to have, and we'll do that off camera, but I know nothing's guaranteed in life, but basically the guy signed guarantees 15% a year. And that's very reasonable. That's actually pretty low because he's probably making like 30-40% a year. Anyway, this is so that was DEVVE Dev that we had gone over. We had done we were taking a look at, I think last time, can you take a look at OMI real quick for us?
Yeah.
And as somebody has said up there, the OMI, where is it? Has almost consistently been dropping for 4 years. So by the charts, they are getting absolutely wrecked nonstop for 4 years.
So,
but for some context, they grow hundreds of thousands per month. I'll let you know that Dfinity is beating them in top line revenue, but still, like, they're still doing hundreds of thousands per month. It's just right now that is not. Also, all of their NFTs from Disney, Marvel, everything that they have will be interoperable in the next like 6 to 8 weeks.
If you look at the chart is the same every time, right?
Yeah.
If you just say this looks like this, looks like this, looks like this, like each one of those are structurally almost sound and the same. So what I would say is, if you're looking for a break in any direction, you're probably going to see a nice little breakout here coming very, very soon. Remember, when you look at it structurally, you want your dip, then you want your double bottom, you want your W form for your breakout, right? So here you are. You almost got your breakout right here in December, and then it faded back down. So we'll call that a double. We'll call that a triple bottom. So you're probably going to have a little bit of a dip there, but then you're going to have a breakout. And then the question is, are you just going to break above here? So when you break above here, you're talking about, what is that level? 0037, 30 is 37.
That's so low.
So, it really looks like you're going to have at least 100% breakout coming up very, very soon. And I'm looking at it from this context in the volatility versus these other ones, because even though they are similar, the structure is not always as sound. So when you look at them historically, you're kind of looking for something that kind of breaks the right way. So it's going to break, and it broke above, by the way, on this one. So, if you get a nice little break above and then you get some confidence out of it, then your biggest area is right there. That green area right there, which is 3055, would be the breakout right there. And that's going to be about 300% gain off of where you currently are. Now, if I'm trading OMI, and if you're somebody who is trading OMI, then we're not getting the breakdown here. So I would move that up to right there, and I would set a buy order at 30165.
Okay.
30165 looks like a perfect place for you to get a nice win. So if it comes down into this range like it did right here, bam, it broke out and you got a huge gain. Your return on that one, again, if you set your buy order where you think that bounce is going to happen and you're right about it, then this was 75%. So, if you had 100,000 OMI and you rode that up towards the top and you got to 75% and you sold your 100,000 OMI, now you got 75,000 for doing nothing but holding it for a little while. You know what I mean? And now it's dipped back down, done the same thing again. Most likely scenario is going to be another big, massive run. I would look for, again, let's zoom in here just a little bit. I would look for this sort of gashing wicks coming down into that range right there to trigger some of those buy orders. And then I would look for a massive move off of that. Like, that's what makes the most sense to me. Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but if you look at the chart and you look at the way that it's run all this time, it does the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's going to keep doing the same thing over and over again until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then if you get great news and it one day breaks out, then you look at this level right here, which, by the way, if you move over here, there you've got support there. Not so much over here, but you can make an argument right there. Anyway, that right there, that's going to be your ultimate line right there. And that's 2 zeros, 13. Yeah. So that's about 9x from where we are right now. So with just some good positivity and some good movement in the right direction, there is an easy 9x to be had on OMI right there. But it should be noted, if you're an OMI fan and if you're a buyer of OMI and you believe in the project and you believe in what they're doing and you believe in everything, this is a perfect entry point for you where they are right now. Like, there's no debate about that. And it looks like, by the way, that it's kind of rounding a little bit on this. I don't know if that means that it's going to pop down here or not. It should, but I mean, you're still in a downward trend, but it's not that bad. Like if you're in a downward trend, it looks like, again, these little pop off moments right here. Just make sure that if you're watching that, just make sure that you take your profit along the way on all of those moves. Like, don't get trapped into anything over some ideology. If your job and your goal is to make more and make more and make more, don't get caught up holding on for the moon. Take your profits when you make your profits. But it looks like it's set up for a nice big move.
So there's a I think that once the narrative kicks off, as long as it does, and obviously there's no guarantees, but when NFTs, I feel like ETH has to run, then the larger NFTs, whether it's Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, Pudgy Penguins, Moonbirds, they run, and then it'll go into digital collectibles. First appearance Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. I think Mickey Mouse will go absolutely insane. I think this does a crazy run eventually, and it might not happen for another 10 months, but I think it does happen.
Remember what I told you before. It's hard to read comic books on your phone. It's hard to read comic books even on a tablet. It's not native. They have to come up with a better system. They come up with a better system. I think I told you, I think the problem is the way that some of these comics were designed so that they're full page things. If you change if the comic was like a Calvin and Hobbes, and it was just one panel after another, that's perfect. Like, that actually works perfectly. But with a comic book, there's so many splash pages and so much dynamic action, and you're not using, it's not 4 screens like this, one after the other. It's one big splash, double page. Then there's 2 or 3 down at the bottom to try to tell more story and to be creative. And that makes it difficult for digital transition. It's uncomfortable for people. So until they fix that, then there's still going to be some problems with digital collectibles.
Yeah. Fair point. I mean, the comics are one thing, the AR actual collectibles are another, and both I think have their place. Someone's asked me before about, I mean, when I say these pump, I think 95% of what they have on there won't, because some of them are just like the Eternal. I don't know if you ever saw them. I don't know if you really watch Marvel, the MCU. The Eternals was not a good movie, and even though they're a pretty awesome comic book characters and they're important in a lot of different ways, the MCU movie was trash, and that, like, I think all of their stuff on VeVe, their first appearance of their collectibles, they might go from like 2 gems to 3 gems, like maybe, but they're not going to have a good, like a crazy big run.
Yeah,
but
the Eternals were never something that I even read.
Yeah, they're not that popular. But I think first appearance Mickey, like there's a good maybe 20 to 50 collectibles on VeVe that'll go very, very hard. Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
25 years ago, I was running a guild, a PvP guild in a video game called Infinity Gauntlet.
Nice. Was it based on like Marvel, or was it like the video game?
That was where the name came from. Yeah, I had the glove on and stuff like that. It was a Star Wars MMO, but yeah, I was it was called Dark, the Infinity Gauntlet.
When you said 25 years ago, I don't know why my mind went to the 80s and not 2001. Oh my god.
Wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Anyway, OMI's in a good place for a bounce. I mean, maybe it's not in a good place for an investor who's bought at a penny. And I'm sure there's a bunch of them. Or half a penny. Maybe it's not in a good place for that, but it's not in a bad place. I mean, it's not. Well, I guess nobody bought it for a penny.
The all-time high was like 1.3 cents.
All right, according to this, it was 0.008.
No, it doesn't show it, but all-time high was in early 2021 at like 1.3 cents. It had done like a 3,000x in like 2 weeks. It was insane. Went from like quad 0.
Yeah, I can see the chart. I can see the chart where it blew up. Again, here's the thing. All of that will come back around. It won't be as big as it was before, but all of that will come back around. So, yeah.
So that's, I do think that it does hit probably a couple of cents again this cycle, just because anyone that's in digital collectibles, like all the other platforms are like dead. Like Recur, Cryptoys, Hero, like anyone else that's tried it is gone, and they have like 300 licenses. It's insane. Anyway, let us talk off camera for a bit, unless there's anything else you want to say, because I got time. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to let everybody know that this market is still going to send. We're not done yet. Everything's lined up. Just a matter right now of waiting out the 4-year crypto bros, the 4-year cycle bros.
Yeah.
The market makers who are still trying to get their liquidity right. And that's it. That's what we're waiting for. Everybody's going to have some money. And by the way, don't forget, just so you guys understand, the market is incentivized right now to start giving you news articles to get your tax money. Don't forget that.
Say what? Say that again.
We're going into tax time right now.
Okay.
The market is incentivized to remind you, hey, bros, you should buy some meme coins. You should buy some crypto because it's going to get fucking crazy. So they're incentivized right now to start putting out news articles that are going to cause a pump in the market, not a dump in the market. Follow the money. The money is coming into stuff right now. People are about to get their tax refunds. People are about to get their Donald Trump stimulus checks, which God knows how much it's going to be by the time he's done telling you, whatever amount it's going to be. But, all of those things are going to put money in your pocket, or are supposed to put money in your pocket. Crypto bros are going to be incentivized to get that money out of you and tell you, hey, guys, we're about to go crazy right now. So I expect to see some stuff start happening.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, let us hope. Everyone, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. And everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. We love you.